Welcome to video 9, Build Your Economic Power. This video is called the 30-Day Income Experiment Framework. Okay? Don't try to build a full business immediately. Run a 30-day income experiment. Don't build a business, run an experiment. By this point in the series, we've talked about something important. We've talked about dependency. We've talked about why stability is not the same thing as security. We've talked about identifying skills you already have, but knowing something and doing something are two different things. And this is where most people get stuck. They think starting means building a business. They think starting means creating something huge, a brand, a company, a complicated system. And that idea alone stops them before they even begin. But what if starting was simpler than that? What if instead of trying to build a business, you just ran an experiment, not a life-changing decision, a 30-day test, a way to see what happens when you activate a skill? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Why experiments work. Experiments remove pressure. Pressure is the biggest reason why people never start. When people think they must succeed immediately, they freeze, they overthink, they analyze, they postpone, they procrastinate. But experiments change that mindset. Experiments are temporary. They have a beginning and an end. They are designed for learning, not perfection. Scientists run experiments all the time. They test something, they observe the results, they adjust, they then try again. Economic activation works the same way. You don't need certainty. You need curiosity. And curiosity is much easier to access when you treat something as an experiment instead of a permanent decision. The 30-day time frame is what we're going to talk about here. Why 30 days? Because 30 days is long enough to test something, but short enough to feel manageable. 30 days allows you to try an idea. See if people respond. Learn what works. Learn what doesn't work. And most importantly, it prevents endless planning. Many people stay in the planning mode for months or years. They research, they study, they think, they overthink, but they never actually activate. 30 days forces movement. It creates a deadline, and deadline creates action. All right, step 1. Pick one skill. The first step in a 30-day income experiment is simple. Pick one skill, not 5 skills, not 10, one. The skill should come from the exercise we discussed in the latest video. Ask yourself, what do people already ask me for help with? What have I done repeatedly? What problems have I solved before? You don't need a revolutionary skill. You need a useful one. Skills that solve real problems are always valuable. Examples could include helping someone improve a resume, helping someone organize their finances, helping someone troubleshoot technology, helping someone plan an event, helping someone fix something. The goal here is not perfection, guys and girls. The goal is activation. Step 2, define one simple offer. Once you identify a skill, you define a simple offer. This is where people often overcomplicate things. They think they need a website, a brand, a complicated service structure. You don't. An offer is simply this, a clear description of a problem you can help solve. For example, I help people improve their resumes. I help small businesses organize spreadsheets. I help people set up basic technology. I help people prepare for job interviews. The offer should be simple enough that someone immediately understands the value of it. Remember, this is an experiment, not a business launch or a business plan. Step 3, set a small 30-day goal. Now you define a goal for the experiment. The goal should be very realistic. You're not trying to generate massive income immediately. You're testing demand. Remember, supply and demand, you're testing that demand. For example, help 3 people, help 5 people, earn your first $200, earn your first $500. The goal creates focus. It gives you the experiment direction, and it allows you to measure the results of that experiment. Without a goal, experiments become vague. With a goal, you can evaluate what happened. Outreach. Now we reach the part many people avoid, outreach. The experiment requires interaction. You have to let people know what you're testing. This doesn't have to be complicated. You can start with your friends, your coworkers, professional contacts. Be careful with your coworkers though. Don't tell them what you're really up to. Just say, hey, I offer this service for X amount. Would you be interested in it? My husband or my wife and I are doing this, so on and so forth. Because remember, as a husband and wife, you're also part of a family that will hopefully help you. And don't worry about if your husband or your wife is negative about the idea that you have to run an experiment. They're still part of it if they like it or not. Because when you start generating that income, they're going to go, really? That worked? Wow, I was wrong. So anyway, so you want to, this, it doesn't have to be complicated. Let's go over this again. You can ask friends, coworkers, professional contacts, online communities, or you can start going to businesses if you have a great idea and start asking them, hey, I offer this service. Would you be interested in it? You can simply say something like, I'm experimenting with helping people with whatever skill that is. If you know someone who needs help with this, please let me know. That's enough. You don't need marketing expertise. You need communication. Many people are surprised how quickly opportunities appear once they simply mention what they can help with. So let's talk about what happens during the experiment. Now let's talk about something very important. The real value of a 30-day experiment is not just the income, it's the information you receive. During the experiment, you'll learn several things. First, you learn whether people actually need the skill you're offering. And then sometimes the demand is stronger than you actually expected. Sometimes it's weaker. That's business. That's how you build your business. That's how you experiment. Either outcome gives you clarity. Second, you learn how to communicate what your value is, what you're offering, what questions they ask. You discover what people are responding to, what problems they're trying to solve. That information is incredibly valuable. Third, you learn what you're doing and what you enjoy doing. Not every skill you test will feel exciting. It's just the way it is. Some may feel draining. Others may feel energizing. Others may feel just outright like, what am I doing? But experiments reveal that difference. And fourth, you gain confidence. Confidence grows from action, not theory. Even helping one person through a skill you already have can change how you see your own abilities. Suddenly, the idea of generating income outside a job becomes real, not hypothetical. That shift in perspective is powerful because once someone experiences income activation, they begin noticing more problems they can solve, which means possibly more income avenues, more ways they can help. And that awareness often leads to the next experiment and the next experiment. That's how momentum builds, not from one perfect idea, from multiple small experiments. Here's the real goal. Let's clarify something important. The goal of a 30-day experiment is not to build a massive business. The goal is activation, activation of skills, activation of opportunity, activation of income. Because once income activation begins, dependency begins to decrease on that one job and one income that you have from your job. And reduced dependency increases confidence in other areas. Confidence can change your behavior. Behavior changes outcomes. This is how economic power actually begins. So instead of asking yourself, what business should I start? Ask a simple question. What experiment can I run in the next 30 days? One skill, one offer, one goal. A few conversations. That's enough to begin. Because you don't need certainty to start. You need curiosity. And curiosity creates movement. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this video. So in the next video of this series, we're going to talk about something very powerful. If nothing changes in your life, where will you be in 1 year from now, in 3 years from now, in 6 months from now? Where will you be if nothing changes? Because time moves forward whether we do or we don't. And the difference between those two paths can be enormous. All right, this is James from Build Your Economic Power. Hey, please like, subscribe, turn your notification bell on, and please comment below if you like this video. I appreciate it. God bless you. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.